have that head-to-head and one more win than the Eagles. That means they move from 3 to 2 seed and remain their spot atop an always competitive NFC North. Back with the fellas to explore it all. Emery Hunt, Patrick Peterson, and let's start surface level here on what Black Friday meant to what we might see come January. The Bears, their percentage skyrockets here to 80-some% to make the playoffs. Still got to play Green Bay twice. Still got to finish with Detroit. A big matchup with San Francisco in between there as well. This one goes miles in getting them to a place they haven't been in a very long time. The way they won today, Emery, how positive should Bears fans be about playoff football because they can run the way they did?
Very much so, because that's where I was going to go. When you look at teams that are usually the Final Four on both sides, AFC, NFC, it's usually a team that can play great run defense or great defense and can run the ball when they want to. And the Bears showed today that they can run the football when they wanted to, not because they had to, because it's the next play call in the shot sheet or whatnot. They ran it because they decided today we're just going to run the football. And you need that going into the postseason, because at the end of the day, just like we saw today, it helps you shrink the ball game. It puts pressure on the opposing team to maximize those possessions. If you can't deal with pressure, then you would hate to face a team that can run the football like the Bears ran today, or like any team that can run the football and play good defense.
Pat, it's hard to wrap heads around playoff football in Chicago after this last decade or so, but getting the hire right means so much in today's NFL. Ben Johnson has really breathed the belief into this football team. Where do you see that manifest most?
Man, for the most part, with him creating that identity of wanting to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and again, if they're able to run the football as efficient and at will, like as they have been throughout the season, they're going to be a dangerous team, because last time I checked, they do play outdoors. Green Bay is an outdoor stadium. Philadelphia is an outdoor stadium. So these games, they're going to be used to. And if you're able to run the ball as efficient as the Chicago Bears, and Caleb Williams making plays in key moments as he did today, the play of the game was the Cole Kmet to close out the game. That throw roll out to his left to get his body back squared up and deliver a dime. And that's just something that he do at a very, very high level. But now, if you're able to run the ball, now you have to deal with that as a defense. So the Chicago Bears right now running game is the best that we have seen all year, and it's with a purpose, and Ben Johnson have definitely brought that with him.
It is the best running game Chicago has seen in quite some time, the best team they've seen in quite some time, and in turn, an inside track Emery now to the playoffs.
Yeah, here's the thing. It's because something Pat P said just is harking back to the greatest show on turf with the Rams, right? Everyone talked about that team because they were #1 in scoring, but people forget they could run the heck out the football with Marshall Faulk and Holcomb and company, right? But on defense, they were very opportunistic. I think they were like 15th that year in total defense. So the Bears are using the right formula to have success come postseason time, because you're going to need some luck. Let's say turnovers can be forced, but it's half force, half luck. And you need that going in. The fact that you know how to create those gives you that confidence to try to create those. But the fact that they can run when they want to, despite the dynamic pieces of other, that's the key. And that's the key ingredient you need to go forward.
You go late 90s, early 2000s. I go even further back. This game, the first time since 1985 that the Bears had two separate 100-plus yard rushers in the same game. It was Walter Payton and Matt Suhey in that storied year in '85. Not saying we're heading anywhere like that. They recorded the music video in week 12, so we're already behind pace, if that is your comparison point in Chicago. This means something, but not everything for Philadelphia, this loss. It's time to soul search, but because of that division, Pat, they're still squarely in that playoff picture and likely to be a division champ, barring something cataclysmic happening here down the stretch. Because of that fact, how do they apply pressure to themselves to get this sorted and be the team they were when they met the playoffs last year?
Joe, this league is a copycat league, right? And what teams are going to do, they're going to go back and watch this tape, what Chicago Bears, this last game they just played, Chicago Bears versus the Philadelphia Eagles, and want to see what was successful. And why the Chicago Bears were so successful, they was able to hit runs on the perimeter, able to hit runs up the gut, keeping that defensive line off balance and keeping their eyes wondering where the next run is going to be. And if you saw that game, the defensive line was uncomfortable the entire game, looking left, looking right. So, if teams want to have an opportunity to have an efficient running game on the Philadelphia Eagles moving forward, the Chicago Bears definitely gave you the blueprint. So we all know this offense of the Philadelphia Eagles have been struggling. They've been showing success in spurts. We saw what they was able to do last week in that first half and sputtered out in the second half and kind of carried that same momentum into this ball game, and they end up losing. So the blueprint is out on the Philadelphia Eagles. You just have to make sure, if you're playing them, that you stick to the strip, making sure that you oppose your will and don't give into the bully ball that they want to play. You know what I mean? Meaning stuff behind, after the whistle, before the whistle, the chirping before the game. You just have to go in there, handle your business, and make sure that you're on point with your game plan so you can walk out of there with a W.
Emery, maybe not by their own fans, but a defending champion is afforded the benefit of the doubt. Still a very good football team that needs to find that gear, that needs to get things to click, needs to see one go in per se. Where do they glean their confidence from right now, the Philadelphia Eagles?
Great question. I think they have to transition out of X's and O's mode to Jimmy's and Joe's mode, because they got dudes. It's like, hey, I'm
11 was competing today.
Exactly. So you think A.J. Brown, I'm better than you on the opposite side. Devonta Smith, I'm faster than you and better than you on the other side. Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley. You talk about those two interior defensive linemen. You look at what they have on the edge and what they have at corner, what they have at safety. They have to play, to use a basketball reference, we're in basketball season, you have to play iso ball. I'm going to just beat the guy in front of me. And if they can go into that mode, they have more Jimmys and Joes than other teams collectively in the league. Now, when you add the X's and O's, that is where things are going to have to get tightened up. But if you can just go out there and say, okay, today is your day, your day, your day, that's how they can get back into a groove. And the good part about it, Joe and Pat, that schedule looks rather delicious for them to have. I'm still on delicious, by the way. It's still holiday season.
And I'm still uncomfortable.
That schedule looks rather nice for those guys to get going.
Uncomfortable situation for teams in the NFC trying to find themselves into that wild card picture, because when you see what's going on in the NFC North and what you see what's going on out west in the NFC, it's going to be hard-pressed to find wild card teams not from those two divisions. Emery, let's look at the North first, because Week 14, big-time matchup at Lambeau between the Bears and the Packers. You also have a massive one between the Cowboys and the Lions. Cowboys fighting for their playoff lives, however slim those chances may be. Detroit, not in that position, but it's getting late early now here for a Detroit team that's going to face a hungry Dallas team. When you look at these matchups in Week 14, what has to happen?
I mean, for my agenda, what needed to happen.
I believe you picked the Bears. You were like one of 3 people in the United States of America to pick the Bears to win the division.
So we're sitting right now on this side of the fence. But I would say Detroit has to look at how they can play on the road. And not only just on the road, but look at who they play on the road. They have the Rams, they have the Vikings, and they have to go and play Chicago. And to me, those teams that can get pressure can frustrate the Detroit Lions, as they are right now in flux along the offensive side of the football, along the offensive line. So they're going to have to find a way to supersede pressure. Green Bay has to find a way to find a consistent ground game. I love what I saw on Thanksgiving from Emmanuel Wilson, Josh Jacobs. You know, they can run the football.